Coronation Street, P694/177, Part 1, Take 1.
Edited copy.
To teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I'd like to rule. I don't know what you're glaring at me for, Alan. It were Edna's fault. It were her who started round.
Look, Ivy, I'm not concerned about whose fault it was. I'm just concerned that my missus is getting the backwash.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry about that.
Well, it's a lot of use being sorry, isn't it, love?
Hilda took it very well. In fact, she was almost expecting it.
Why?
Seems she had a premonition about those bananas. Makes you think.
Yes, Mum, I'm thinking.
Apparently it happened near Scott's Corner. Stan swerved to avoid a fox and had to brake sharply.
Don't tell me I can see it now. The whole load, you see.
Every single banana, right through the cab. He was nearly smothered in them.
But he's going to be all right.
They think so.
How's the fox, anyway?
Sorry to have kept you, Mrs. Howard, but something cropped up.
Oh, it's all right, Mr. Fitzpatrick. I had one or two things to do myself.
Now then, what about this afternoon's little kerfuffle?
Well, I'm very sorry about that, but it just
A
blew
good
up.
supervisor spots trouble before it can blow up, you know, Mrs. Howard.
Oh, come on now, Mr. Fitzpatrick. I'm not psychic. Nobody is.
I'll tell you what you obviously were, though, should I?
What?
Otherwise engaged.
You mean, that was my husband.
You know, I don't care if it was your MP. We've a large notice outside the factory entrance to the effect that no unauthorized persons are allowed inside the warehouse. And that goes for Mr. Howard.
Yeah, well, I'm very sorry about that. He really just came in to help, and then that's how all the kerfuffle started.
Well, what was it all about?
Well, in a nutshell, Mrs. Tilsley's left her husband. Mrs. G knows about it. She keeps getting a dig. And all of a sudden, it all boiled over before I knew where I was.
Where does your husband come into this? He's not a marriage guidance counsellor or something, is he?
No, he's not. Well, Mrs. Tilsley left her own home. She plunked herself on us, and she's living with us
With
temporarily.
Mr. Howard's approval?
No, not exactly.
He didn't look the sort to suffer the likes of Mrs. Tilsley.
No, he's not.
Well, Mrs. Howard, you and your husband might have got yourselves involved with Mrs. Tilsley in her domestic affairs, but the company hasn't and doesn't intend to. So there'll be no repetition of this afternoon's little wrestling match. All right?
All right.
You know, I've never actually seen women fighting before. Actually thumping each other, they were. They weren't kidding either, were they?
They say that women can be as rough as men when they try hard enough, Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Rougher, I'd say. Anyway, as I was saying, if it happens again, they'll be dismissed. And you with them, I shouldn't wonder. Understood.
Understood.
And, if you take my advice...
Oh, I welcome it.
You know, the best way to re-establish your authority out there is by showing Mrs. Tilsley the door at home. You know, you can't expect to play the boss during the day and have her crying on his shoulder at night. The two don't mix.
No.
Sorry to have kept you, but I thought the sooner you knew just how seriously I view the affair, the less likelihood of it happening again. We don't want to lose you, Mrs. Howard. You're a good supervisor normally. Good night.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'll kill her. I'll flaming well kill her.
Right fool I looked, didn't I? Everybody asking where you were, and me as ignorant as the rest of them on the subject. You left here with your football gear in plenty of time. Where did you get to? Why didn't you turn up at the match? Terry, I'm talking to you. Why didn't you turn up at that match?
I went pictures instead.
What pictures?
Classic. Ben Hur.
You've seen Ben Hur once?
No, I haven't. Last time it come around, you wouldn't take me.
Well, I've heard everything now. You go sloping off to pictures when you should be playing football at school.
No, I shouldn't have been playing football.
Well, you'd been picked to play.
Not to play, just as reserve.
Oh. Oh, well, I've got news for you, Clothhead. You were needed. Somebody cried off.
You're just saying that.
If you weren't needed, why was everybody asking where you were then?
You're just saying that.
Don't you make me into a liar as well as a fool, Terry Bates. I'm telling you, you were needed to play.
Well, they should have said.
How could they say with you at pictures?
Before. They should have said before.
I'll tell you one thing. This is the last time you make a fool out of me. Definitely the first and last time. In front of Mr. Barlow and all. If your father knew, he'd break your back.
Would he?
Pardon?
You heard what I said.
You know he would.
Even if you knew why you'd got into do football all of a sudden.
What are you getting at?
Nothing.
What are you getting at?
Mr. Barlow, that's what I'm getting at. The only reason you were interested in the football match because
I was interested because you'd been picked to play.
You've never been interested before.
You'd never been picked to play before. Anyway, I didn't know Mr. Barlow were going to be there.
Yes, you did.
How did I know?
You must have mentioned it when he was here. And don't say you weren't here, because I heard you talking to him. Now, tell me Dad I went to the pictures. If you dare.
Terry? Come back here. Terry!
Personally, I think I've proved quite conclusively that all the coaching manuals and technical knowledge aren't worth a light. Free expression is the thing. Let the ball work for itself.
You've come to that conclusion after just one game, have you?
Malcolm Allenson would strangle him if he could hear him. He would, he'd strangle him.
Look, it were all them tips that I give them that really did the trick.
You're not supposed to teach children to time waste, Albert.
No, quite honestly, I think I can take full credit for our victory. No, I really do. I can take it on myself. I mean, football is basically a very simple game. If you keep kicking the ball in the same direction all the time, eventually it's bound to go between the posts. Law of averages.
Barlow, when I left here a couple of months back, you were someone who thought a wall pass was something you found in the Alps.
Isn't it?
Oh, where do you think you're sloping off to?
I've laid table and there's a couple of chops on the grill.
I didn't ask you what the grub situation was. I said, where do you think you're sloping off to?
I'm going out. Didn't I tell you I've got a date?
Out? Date? What sort of a date?
What sort of date, sir? A date with a fella.
What flaming fella?
George Harrop.
Oh, I see. George Harrop, eh?
Yeah, George and me, we've been friends for a long time.
Ivy Tilsley?
Yes, Elsie.
Do you think that George Harrop has been waiting for such a situation as this? Like your husband leaving you?
Well, it's not beyond the bounds of possibilities. I mean, he's a smashing fella. He's not without a bother.
Ivy Tilsley, I have just got into the most father and mother of a telling off from John Fitzpatrick on your account.
Not on my account, Elsie.
Yes,
on
according
Edna's
to
account.
me, on your account. Fancy leaving home like that's just a drop of that because you thought your Jack winked at a dolly bird.
He more than winked, Elsie. He did a lot more.
If you hadn't rowed with him, there'd have been no row here with Edna, there'd been no row at the works, and what's more important to me, there'd be no trouble here in this house between me and my husband.
Yes, I'll second that, Mrs. Allen.
Oh, hello, Alan. Chops should be nearly ready now. I'm sorry I haven't got time to dish them up, but I've got to fly. Ta-ra, then.
Ivy! I haven't finished with you, Ivy! If only she was as quick as a bun of pins at work.
And what did Mr. Fitzpatrick say?
Enough.
Come on, tell me.
Well, if there's any more punch-ups, he's going to sack them for doing the punching up and sack me for not stopping them.
In other words, she's nearly lost your job.
Yeah, near enough.
You still wanted to stay on here after that?
No, I don't. I was going to chuck her out just then, but I didn't have much chance, did I?
No, and she won't give you the chance tomorrow, will she? Or the next day? Because as you so aptly said, little Ivy's very fast on her pins. Well, I'm going to do something I should have done in the first place.
What?
I'm going to see Jack Tilsley. Tell him to get his wife away from here and take her home, or she's going to be walking the streets.
Oh. Before or after you have your chop?
Well, after, of course. Can't do a job like that on an empty stomach.
Right, coming up. That's if she's remembered to put the gas on. Hey, supposing Jack Tilsley decides he doesn't want to have her back?
Don't you even think such a thing.
All right, thanks so much, Squire.
Cheers.
Cheers. Hey, you didn't mind us coming here, did you?
Well, it's a pub, isn't it? Sells booze, doesn't it?
I know, but it's not exactly Ritz Hotel, is it? Only I didn't want to risk going anywhere else and bumping into our Jack, you know.
Oh, thought he didn't drink anywhere else except Red Lion.
You never know, do you? If he starts going out with other women, he could start going in other boozers, can't he?
It's a bit of a turn-up, isn't it?
How do you mean?
Well, old Jack, I mean, he's as solid as the Rock of Gibraltar. He's suddenly turning into a man about town.
Man about town, me, I am Peggy Martin. He's as soft as a boat horse.
It's still a bit of a turn-up, isn't it? For me.
George Harrop, don't you start getting ideas.
Well, you can't blame a fella for making the best of his opportunities now, can you?
No, and you do make best of your opportunities, don't you? I've noticed that.
So when are you moving in with me then?
Don't be daft. Mine's left him, but I'm still married.
How long have you been married to him then?
Oh, 19 years this next month.
And after that time you've not been on speaking terms, have you?
Oh, not because of any nastiness between us. I mean, you know, Jack, he's reserved, he's quiet.
Yeah. There's quiet and quiet, look. He might as well be a gable end.
Well, he can't be that quiet, can he? Because, I mean, what does she see in him?
I wonder.
Well, you don't need to wonder.
Well, it's no skin off your nose, is it?
No, not really. I was not.
Hey, I'll tell you something else. I've got a new colour television. Bearskin rug in the bedroom. It's like a Bedouin's boudoir.
I'll tell you, make it sound very tempting, you do.
Tell you something else, I know.
What?
I'm not quiet, you know.
George Harrop.
Well, you all set?
Near enough. Hey, supposing Jack Tilsley doesn't like the idea of you turning up at the Red Lion and dots you on.
Well, you wait 5 minutes and then you can come in and do him for me.
Oh, I will. Nobody hits my husband and gets away with it.
Oh, I wish I'd had somebody standing behind me when I was a lad like you. I would have saved me all those black eyes. I wasn't much of a scrapper, you know.
John Fitzpatrick was very impressed the way Ivy and the other girls showed themselves off this morning.
And you're supposed to be the weaker sex. Come on.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you very much.
Good
Thank you. Good
everybody.
up. Well, it's very civil of you, Headmaster.
Civil? I get it. Well, the school team winning for once has meant quite a few bob to me in wages.
Yeah, well, more than it were to us. We lost money.
Yo, ye of little faith.
You know, this character reckons he's another Brian Clough now, sir.
Well, from today's result, if it's any criterion, he has. It's the first time in 10 years that we've won in this way.
Well, who did you have training the footy team before then? A lady teacher?
No, not exactly, Councillor Roberts. No, let's say that Ken's predecessor had been known to run alongside the wingers, muttering, "Make a haste, Smith," or Jones, or whatever the name of the latter was. Well, I'm very grateful to you, gentlemen, for your vocal support.
Pleasure, sir.
Yeah, and we'll be at the next match, too.
Yeah, they'll do anything for a drink, Mr. Perkins.
Oh.
Everything all right, Billy, love?
That's the third time you've asked me that since 6 o'clock.
Just an excuse.
Excuse for what?
To talk to you, make the most of you being back.
Well, the best way you can do that is to go back in there and put your feet up.
Oh, no, it's so boring.
Well, then knit so much.
I'm not the knitting type.
All right, then hang about here, but no work, man. Just hang about looking decorative. You're a dab-hand at that. Good evening, sir. Evening, madam. What can I do
Evening,
for
large
you?
scotch, please. And a gin and tonic for my wife. Whatever you're going to have, Mrs. Walker. Everybody.
Glad to, thank you, Alan. You both look in a very good mood.
Oh, we are.
Ever heard of the cuckoo on the nest, Mrs. Walker?
Well, ours has just left us.
Mrs. Tilsley leaving you?
Yeah, she's going back to her husband.
Well, I went round and had a word with him, and he decided it was just one big colossal mistake.
So he wants her back tonight.
You'll be lucky.
Why?
Ivy's been in here for the last couple of hours with a bloke. Feeling and cooing like a couple of young doves they were. She won't be going home tonight or any other night, if you ask me.
You have been every other time. Coronation Street, P694/177, Part 2, Take 1.
Thought you didn't want any breakfast. Do you want a warm drink? Oh, suit yourself. Terry?
What?
Come back here a minute. Now think on. Don't go giving Mr. Barlow any of your cheek. He's bound to be mad at you, you know, and he's got every reason to.
I'll not say nothing, ma'am.
Good.
You've nothing you want me to tell him for, have you?
Get off with you. And think on what I told you.
Well, a bed's been slept in.
By how many?
Oh, you've got a dirty mind, you have.
Dirty and desperate.
Ah, well, she must have got up early and crept out just to avoid me.
She can go on indefinitely doing that, can't she?
Yeah, well, never mind. Out of sight, out of mind.
No, Elsie, she's got to be told she's overstayed her welcome.
Yeah.
Even we've got to set traps to catch the woman.
Well, of course.
You're not going soft on me, are you?
No, of course not.
I'm getting a bit tired of sharing this hearth and home with just everybody. Your relation. What was her name?
Sandra.
Sandra. Well, I'm not sharing my toothbrush with a total stranger. To say nothing of that rather expensive shampoo for greasy hair.
Oh, she never did.
She has done. Either that or we've got a mouse that's very mad on the stuff.
Well, I'll talk to her this morning. She's got to come into work, hasn't she?
Would you like me to waylay her at the gates?
No, there's no need for that. I'll talk to her. All I need to get my blood pressure up is the sight of her flaming cheeky face.
Morning.
Oh, you're speaking, are you?
Of course I am. I don't hold grudges, I never have done.
Well, that's a lie. You told me you never spoke to your father for years.
Only because he wanted to recite Eskimo Nell at me wedding, that's all. And anyway, if I can let bygones be bygones as the innocent party, sure you can.
Innocent party? You call me Spindle Shanks. You try to pull me hair out back roots.
You mean off, don't you, love? You pull a wig off, not out.
Now, look, Ivy Tilsley, I thought I marked your card for you yesterday, but I evidently didn't. Right, we'll see who's wearing a wig.
Morning, Elsie.
In the office, you.
What do you want to see me for, Elsie?
You were an early bird this morning, weren't you?
Oh, I couldn't sleep, you know, so I thought I'd go walk round the park. Oh, it was smashing, you know, all fresh.
Ivy?
Yes, Elsie.
You got up out and out early this morning to avoid me, didn't you?
Well, what for? What reason have I got?
Well, for a start, you still don't know what John Fitzpatrick had to say, do you?
Ah, it wouldn't be much, would it, Elsie? I mean, he's a nice fella, isn't he, Mr. Fitzpatrick? I mean, I'm sure you could soft soap him, somebody with your experience.
As a matter of fact, he had something very interesting to say.
Oh.
Yes. He advised me to get rid of you.
What, sack me?
In a manner of speaking, yes.
But it weren't my fault.
Out of my home. My home.
Oh, I see. Well, it's none of his business, is it, who you have stopping with you? I hope you told him so.
No, I didn't. I decided to take his advice, so I want you out today.
But where am I going to go?
Home, to your own home. And that's another thing you don't know, isn't it? Your Jack wants you back.
How do you know?
Alan went round to see him, you daft apeth. He's no more interested in that Dolly Barratt than I've got in clog dancing.
Well, he's left it just a little bit late to say so, hasn't he?
What do you mean?
Well, I've had an offer, haven't I?
Who from? Not that bloke you were in the Rovers with the other night.
Yeah. He's asked me to go and live with him. And if you're going to chuck me out, what choice have I got?
She moans at me all the big time nowadays.
Don't talk to her. Even if she asks me something, that's what I do with my mum when she starts moaning at me.
She's been worse ever since Barlam started interfering.
I'm glad Barlam don't come round her house.
She said it's about me, but I think it's different.
What else could he come round for? He isn't a telling man besides the teacher, is he?
I think he's sweetener. She definitely fancies him.
Morning. Morning. Now, it's history, isn't it? Yeah. Well, before we plunge into the life and times of King Ethelred the Unready, I want to say a word or two about litter. Prompted, actually, by the sight of a car driver emptying the contents of the ashtray into the gutter just outside the school this morning. A growing practice, I might add.
My dad does it, sir.
Does he? Well, after what I've said to you, Susan, maybe you'll know precisely how to react next time he does it, okay? Now, you all know what pollution is, and the threat that it can be to life today as we know it. Well, I reckon that the ordinary citizen, that's you and me, is just as much to blame as the factory owner. Every toffee wrapper, every cigarette paper that's thrown onto the street or the countryside is another scar on the landscape. So next time you see anybody dropping any litter, just go up to them and say what I said to this driver this morning. Would you drop that on the carpet at home? And if you get a belt round the ear for your pains, well, it was in a good cause, wasn't it?
Did you get it this morning, sir?
No, Susan, I didn't, because he was a very little driver, which I'd already noted. You lost your sense of humour, Terry? Which reminds me, we've got to have a little chat about your disappearing out yesterday, haven't we? OK, get your books out, then.
We bothered all round.
Everything were all right till Barlam started coming round to our house.
There we are. 2 portions of tater hash with peas, 2 custard pies hot out of the oven.
Oh, you got 'em. Where do you find the plates warming in the oven and all?
Well, I'll put this in the oven while we're waiting, shall I?
Uh-huh.
Elsie? Why 3 plates? You're warming 3 plates. There's just 2 of us, isn't there?
Oh, just force of habit.
Now, there is just 2 of us, isn't there? I mean, you did give Ivy the heave-ho, didn't you?
Well, not exactly, no.
Didn't she turn in at work this morning?
Well, yes, she did, but...
Then why not this time?
Well, don't get mad, Adam.
I'm as cool as a cucumber.
No, well, it's just that I thought... Oh, well, you see, it's like this. I didn't want to go chucking her out for the sake of a few days, and I thought that if she could just hang around, we'd be all right. You see, I didn't want to ruin another marriage, love. We've both been responsible for that in the past, and we don't got to get involved again. And for the sake of a few days, I didn't want... Where are you going?
I'm going to pack her flaming suitcase. That's where I'm going. I'm not sharing this house with Ivy Tisley for another single hour. And I don't care about your conscience or her future.
Oh.
What's going on?
It's Alan.
What's he doing? Is he jumping up and down or something?
As a matter of fact, he's packing.
Oh, he's not leaving, is he, Elsie?
No, he's packing your bag.
Oh, see. That'll save me a job then, won't it?
Ivy Tilsley, you are hard-faced. You are as hard-faced as that tabletop.
You've no cause to say that, Elsie. I thought you wanted me to skedaddle.
I do want you to skedaddle, but where are you skedaddling to? Or is flaming Jallop's bed sit?
It's Harrop, not Jalop. And anyway, it's not a bed sit, it's a superior terrorist. And I'm not going anywhere near him or his house.
Well, where are you going then?
I'm going home. Where else?
Eh?
You heard. I could no more live with George Harrop than I can get into a 34 frock. Ah, Jack's what I'm used to. God help me. Anyway, I miss having somebody to talk to who don't keep interrupting his own gags. Oh, I'm not kidding, George. He's terrible for that. As if I want to know about Hurricane Higgins.
Oh.
Hurricane Higgins is a snooker player from Muzzle Twistle or somewhere.
Oh. Oh, well. Better the devil you know.
No, Ivy. Your suitcase. All packed. I don't think I've left anything out. Now, you can leave here in any direction that suits you best.
Oh, thanks, Alan. You know, I've liked living here in spite of everything, honest. You're not all like my Jack, you know. You're not very talkative, are you? Ta.
She's not going.
Oh, exactly.
Would you credit that?
Queer lot we women, aren't we?
No, but Elsie, why? Give me a reason. I mean, why make a career out of being devious?
Search me. Would you like your hash now?
Yes, please. Hey.
Huh?
I don't look like Jack Tilsley, do I?
Now, don't think I'm not grateful, Billy love, but you don't have to take me out tonight.
I want to take you out tonight.
Frightened I'll spend the day moping, are you?
Well, nobody will blame you if you did. I mean, it's Dad's birthday, isn't it? You're bound to feel it a bit.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so I'm going to take you out just like he would have done. We're going to have a binge, okay?
Well, that's not strictly true, love, because, you see, his birthday had a habit of clashing with the annual meeting of the bowling club, and entertaining me came a very poor second.
All right, well, let's just say you're doing me a favour, eh?
I doubt that, love, but I'm not going to argue with you. I shall be delighted to go out with you this evening.
Good, so it's all fixed. A table for 2 at the blackboard.
Perfect. And thank you for being so thoughtful.
So I'm...
Bye, you can be almost human when you try, can't you, Billy Walker?
I happen to be a very sensitive young man, Lynch. It just so happens that I get tainted by the course of people that I'm forced to mix with.
Oh, I'm sorry, Billy. I'll keep my distance in future, I promise. Right, Jack, love.
Cheers. Hello, here comes the heavy mob. Yes, gents? What's up with you? You've been struck dumb or something?
Maybe they've seen some little green men getting out of an aeroplane shaped like a saucer.
All right. A pint of rum, please. I swore I wasn't going to say anything until he'd ordered.
You haven't had the practice, mate.
Oh, well, those old soldiers learned to cope, you know.
Cope? Is that the word you use? I thought it was scrounge.
Pint of split, miss.
Right, look.
Split, that's what Stan Ogden's had. A banana split. A 10-ton banana split.
Yeah, how is he, anyhow?
Oh, Hilda's gone up on the bus to see him.
Yeah, she set off with a bag full of comics for him to read and a basket full of fruit.
I hope it wasn't a bunch of bananas.
I will say this. Only Stan Ogden could get 10 tons of bananas down the back of his neck through a cab window.
Oh, it's a pity it were rotten tomatoes.
You are rotten, you lot. How would you like to finish up with a shirt full of fives up your shirt front?
Very
When you least expected it.
Very, very comical.
Eh?
Very comical.
What's up with you, mate?
Stan Ogden. My mate's his brother-in-law, and he's coming in here, so watch it.
Mr. Barlow, go mad.
Who cares?
We're all good, aren't we? Yeah.